I took the 6 buy and sell indicators we've reviewed on this channel and put them up against one premium tool to show you the gap between a good free tool and a complete trading system. As always, each indicator is reviewed on the same criteria: originality, usefulness, visualization, customization, and logic, and ranked independently. The list runs from number 7 to number 1, so let's get into it. Mean Deviation Loop. Created by LyraRS, this indicator applies mean absolute deviation, or MAD, calculations through two distinct methodologies: a Bollinger Band-style channel and a directional scoring loop. MAD measures volatility by calculating the average distance between price and a moving average, giving equal weight to all deviations regardless of size. Users select which signal mode to follow or combine both through a hybrid scoring system. The Bollinger Band mode calculates MAD by measuring average absolute distance between price and a selected moving average over the look-back period defaulting to 25. The system then creates asymmetric bands using separate multipliers for upper at 1.4 times and lower at 1.0 times zones, triggering signals when price crosses these boundaries. The for-loop mode operates through a different mechanism. It weights the source price by MAD values, calculates a moving average of this weighted price, then runs a directional scoring loop. The combined signal mode averages the binary states from both Bollinger Band and for-loop methods. This normalized score crosses user-defined thresholds to determine final trade signals. A statistics table displays real-time signal states for all three modes simultaneously, allowing comparison of their current readings. Customization spans moving average type selection with 16 options from SMA to T3, separate length and multiplier controls for both calculation modes, independent threshold settings. The for-loop scoring replicates trend strength measurement available through simpler oscillators. All those separate thresholds and parameters create optimization risk, where you'll find settings that fit history perfectly but fail in live trading. Support and resistance, and EMA crossovers with alerts. Built by Kiran Reddy 0929, this dual-purpose indicator that identifies support and resistance levels using pivot detection, while simultaneously tracking EMA crossovers for trend signals. The support and resistance calculation uses left and right bar look-back periods to find pivot highs and lows, with volume threshold filtering to distinguish significant breaks from weak violations. The EMA system uses 3 periods: short-term at 5, medium-term at 12, and long-term at 34. The visual signals include 4 distinct patterns. Uptrend labels appear when the 5 EMA crosses above the 12 EMA, and downtrend labels when it crosses below. Buy signals fire when the 12 EMA crosses above the 34 EMA, and sell signals when it crosses below. Support and resistance breaks get marked with small B labels when accompanied by volume spikes above the threshold. Bull wick and bear wick labels identify rejection wicks that close back above resistance or below support. You can trade the EMA crossover signals as primary entries, using the nearest support or resistance level as your stop loss. Another approach treats the support and resistance breaks as entries, but only when aligned with the EMA trend direction. For example, taking resistance breaks only when EMAs show an uptrend. The wick rejection labels can serve as reversal signals or warnings to tighten stops on existing positions. The combination of trend signals and structural levels is practical, and the volume-filtered breaks add value. However, the indicator doesn't bring anything particularly innovative. It's a competent implementation of standard techniques, but without unique mechanics, that would make it superior to existing alternatives. A DX volatility waves. Created by BOS Waves, this Pine script indicator fuses ADX trend strength measurements with Bollinger Bands to generate dynamic volatility zones that adapt based on directional momentum. It positions gradient-colored overbought and oversold regions outside traditional Bollinger Bands, with zone width responding to ADX values. The core mechanism calculates standard Bollinger Bands, then applies an ADX-based adjustment factor to the deviation component. When ADX rises, the multiplier expands bands to account for increased volatility during strong trends. Zone positioning starts at user-defined offset distance beyond smoothed Bollinger Bands, with width scaling as a multiple of the smoothed range. The gradient visualization divides each zone into 10 layers, with color intensity progressing from light to dark as price penetrates deeper. Signal generation triggers when price enters extreme zones after spending time in neutral territory. The cooldown parameter prevents signal spam by blocking new alerts until minimum bars elapse. During strong trends where ADX exceeds threshold, expanded zones acknowledge trending markets naturally push further into statistical extremes. When ADX falls below weak threshold, compressed zones reflect lower conviction environments where mean reversion becomes more reliable. Strategy development could incorporate squeeze detection that fires when Bollinger width falls below its 50-period average, signaling potential breakout setups. The smoothing length becomes critical for timeframe adaptation. Higher values create stable zones for position trading. Lower settings generate responsive boundaries for intraday scalping. It effectively combines two established indicators with thoughtful zone positioning logic and ADX responsive volatility adjustment. The gradient visualization adds useful depth perception for extreme conditions, while smoothing and cooldown parameters prevent common overbought/oversold signal problems. However, the fundamental approach remains derivative, and execution here doesn't introduce breakthrough methodology beyond aesthetic refinement. The edge comes from parameter tuning rather than novel analytical insight. GK Trend Ribbon. Swing Plus, Prepare, HUD. H. Gavin 780 created this trend-following system, combining a dynamic channel with early warning signals for potential reversals. The core uses a zero-lag EMA at its center, with upper and lower bands calculated using ATR multiplication. The logic requires confirmed breakouts above the upper band or below the lower band, with additional confirmation bars to reduce whipsaw trades. The visual design features a filled ribbon changing color, based on trend direction: lime for bullish, red for bearish, and gray for neutral periods. The HUD banner at the top constantly shows the current market state, displaying either prepare warnings, confirm trend direction, or a neutral waiting phase. The confirmation bar requirement helps filter noise, though it means entering slightly later than pure momentum traders. In real trading, this works best on swing trading timeframes like 4-hour or daily charts where trends have room to develop. Strategy options include using confirmed signals as primary entries with stops placed at the opposite band. More conservative traders might wait for a retest of the ribbon after a breakout before entering. The Prepare Alert system is genuinely useful for traders who prefer confirmation watching over mechanical entries, and the visual design is exceptionally clear without being cluttered. The logic is sound with proper volatility adjustment and confirmation requirements, though it's fundamentally still a trend-following system that will struggle in ranging markets, despite the neutral mode filtering some choppy periods. Breakout targets. Created by Algo Alpha, this indicator identifies price consolidation ranges through volatility analysis, then projects risk-reward targets when breakouts occur. Upon detecting consolidation, the algorithm identifies the most recent pivot high or low using a swing length parameter defaulting to 99, divided by 2 for lookback. It then determines whether the high or low pivot is more recent, using that as the range starting point. This creates dynamic ranges that adapt to actual market structure rather than fixed periods. The overlap prevention system checks whether proposed ranges intersect with existing active ranges before creation. Ranges extend forward each bar until price closes beyond their boundaries. Breakouts trigger when close exceeds the top for bullish or falls below the bottom for bearish, immediately removing the range and initiating target calculations. Target placement uses ATR-based stop-loss positioning, defaulting to 5 times ATR from entry as the risk reference. Take profit levels, multiply this risk distance by user-defined ratios. Lines and labels display entry price, stop loss, and all 3 targets with extending tracking until TP3 is reached. The system maintains all graphics until TP3 hits or a new breakout occurs. Customization includes range detection period, overlap prevention toggle, ATR period for volatility measurement, stop loss multiplier, and 3 independent TP multipliers. Color controls adjust bullish and bearish scheme elements. The volatility-based detection gives objective consolidation identification, which beats manually drawing boxes around ranges. The pivot-anchored construction adapts smartly to actual market structure. However, those fixed target ratios assume every breakout has the same potential regardless of range size or market conditions, which limits real-world adaptability. Dynamic Z-score divergence. Created by Uptrick, this Pine script indicator constructs a composite oscillator by normalizing three popular momentum indicators through Z-score transformation, then detects divergences and mean reversion opportunities from the resulting signal. The core methodology takes RSI, stochastic RSI, and MACD, calculates Z-scores for each over a 100-bar lookback, then averages these standardized values and applies EMA smoothing. This triple Z-score approach attempts to filter noise by requiring agreement across different momentum calculations. When all three indicators show extended readings in the same direction, the composite signal becomes more pronounced. The mean reversion component generates signals when the smoothed oscillator changes slope direction while positioned in oversold, below -1.0, or overbought, above 1.0 territory. This captures the moment when extended momentum begins reversing, theoretically identifying inflection points before price fully turns. Divergence detection follows the classic approach of comparing oscillator pivots against price pivots. When price makes lower lows while the oscillator makes higher lows, bullish divergence is flagged. The opposite pattern triggers bearish divergence signals. These appear both on the oscillator panel and as labels on the price chart itself. The indicator includes an SAEMA overlay system, a self-adaptive exponential moving average that adjusts its smoothing factor based on RSI Z-score intensity. During high-conviction moves, the EMA becomes more responsive. ATR-based bands surround this average, with visibility toggled based on trend direction to reduce chart clutter. Bar coloring options allow traders to maintain visual context of the current bias without constantly checking the oscillator panel. The triple Z-score concept provides genuine value by creating a standardized, comparable measure across indicators that normally operate on different scales. The combination of overlapping systems risks information overload, and the default display hides most functionality, making initial assessment confusing. I spent months building what I couldn't find anywhere for free, and it's why this sits at number 1. Some of you may already know it, or even use it daily. The indicator is called Quantum Ribbon Pro, and here's my review on it the same way I'd do this for any other indicator. Quantum Ribbon Pro, created by Trendline project, is a buy and sell signal system built as the execution layer of a larger structured workflow called BST: Backtest, Scan, Trade. It is part of a 4-tool package that also includes a dedicated backtester, a multi-instrument scanner, and TPRSI Pro. That context matters, because most free buy and sell indicators are standalone tools with no tested logic behind them. QR Pro is designed to be the final step of a process. You test your settings in the backtester first: win rate, drawdown, and profit factor against real historical data. Then you bring those same settings into QR Pro and execute when conditions align. For traders who want to monitor multiple instruments at once, the scanner runs the same logic across up to 20 markets simultaneously, showing which ones have active setups without needing to check each chart manually. On the chart, QR Pro plots entry signals with automatic stop loss and take profit levels. A layered filter stack sits on top of the signal engine. Each filter can be toggled independently. A higher time frame confirmation module, a TPRSI ribbon alignment check, a support and resistance proximity detector, and a quantum range filter that suppresses signals entirely during low volatility ranging conditions. The combination of these filters is what gives traders meaningful control over signal frequency and quality, something free tools rarely offer at this level of granularity. The risk management suite is where the distance from free alternatives becomes most visible. 3 stop-loss methods are available: a TR-based, percentage-based, and swing structure, each with adjustable sizing. Take profit can be configured as a single risk-reward target, or split into a 3-stage partial exit system with configurable position percentages at each level. A break-even stop moves automatically after a specified target is reached. A ribbon flip exit option closes the position early if the trend shows signs of reversing against the trade, but only when no partial targets have been hit yet, so profitable trades are allowed to complete normally. The alert system reflects a level of development that free tools rarely invest in. Alerts fire once per trade event, are direction-aware, and support 4 message formats, including JSON webhook output for automated bot integration. Entry signals, each partial take-profit stage, break-even movement, stop loss, final target, and ribbon flip exits each have their own dedicated alert condition. For traders running automated strategies or bots, that granularity means every stage of a trade can trigger a precise action without any manual intervention. TPRSI Pro is included in the same package. It functions as a complete standalone momentum system covering structured entry signals, divergence detection, an RSI volume profile, and multi-time frame RSI overlay. It also integrates directly with QR Pro through the TPRSI confirmation filter, adding a momentum alignment check before any signal is allowed to fire. The filter architecture, risk management depth, and alert system place it in a category most tools on TradingView cannot reach, not because the concept is unique, but because building it correctly requires sustained development that public scripts simply do not reflect. Quantum Ribbon Pro is part of the BST package. 4 tools, including the Backtester, the Scanner, and TPRSI Pro. Full tutorials are linked in the description,